Hello, everyone. My name is Dee from H&D Abroad. It is an unexpected day. I normally don't go live on Sunday, but when opportunity knocks, I'm going to say yes, especially when it is a topic that is very important to me with people who mean the world to me. I'm gonna bring them into the space and invite folks to join us, especially in this conversation. If you are 50, 40, 30, but you are struggling to make friends, to make connections, this is the conversation for you. I'm going to start with introducing myself because sometimes I forget that when I'm doing this live alone. So my name is Dee. My husband and I host H&D Abroad, this channel where we are sharing the everyday steps to our move abroad in 2025. Is our hope and what we're working toward. The most important thing about our channel is that we are literally giving you a transparent view into that journey and sharing the friends, the research, the scouting trips that are helpful in us making our move, and the community of folks that are coming together as a part of our process. So if that sounds interesting to you, I invite you to stop what you're doing and subscribe to our channel if you have not. If you are in the chat and you have been with us before, I want to say thank you and welcome. Hit that like button and the notification bell so that you know when we go live regularly. But without any more time, I want to introduce to you all. Ulonda has been on my channel several times. She is locating cozy. Ulonda and I are the accountability group leads for the group We Out. I've mentioned it on this channel several times, but We Out 2025 would not exist without the group Exodus Summit. I would not have met this dear sister without Stephanie Perry, without Rashida Dow. And so, Stephanie, why don't you introduce yourself to those who may not know you, and what you do in the world for Black women?
Okay. Hi, friends. First of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm so glad to be here, Dee. So my name is Stephanie Perry. I am a house sitter, and I am the co-founder of Exodus Summit. I'm a Black woman who decided that my life was better outside of the United States, and so I was going to make sure that I spent more and more time out of the United States. I haven't lived in the U.S. since 2015. And once I decided that my life was better, I was like, oh, you know what? I also know some other Black women whose lives might be better. Let me share this. Let me start talking my talk. Let me get them out, right? Let me show them at least how accessible this is, how accessible it can be to live out of the US or to travel full time or something in between, or to take a career break. And so that's how I co-founded Exodus Summit. And we now have a thriving, humongous community of Black women who are the best people on the internet and the best people in real world, right? Exodus Summit, even though it looks like an online community, it's actually a real world place where Black women get together. And that's who I am.
Absolutely. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us. Ulonda, why don't you introduce yourself, locating cozy, and where you are in the world as a complement to Exodus Summit?
My name is Ulonda, and I am locating cozy, and that is just the name that I came up with because I was finding my way and finding my comfort and finding my joy. And as I tell many women in my YouTube live that I try to do every Wednesday, is how are you locating your cozy? You don't have to reinvent the wheels. Stephanie Perry, Exodus Summit, Rashida Dow, they helped us understand that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And now that's what Danica and myself are doing with We Out. We're letting you know that there are avenues, no matter your personality, no matter your goals, You don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel. There's some steps that you can follow. And I just want to make sure that we're always cheering each other on. Period. Cheers and support always.
Always.
That's it.
Absolutely. So let's see. If you have questions for Stephanie for our audience, please put them in the comments. But you know what? Stephanie does this. I'm gonna keep doing this on our channel too. So hello, Poetry. Hello, Pisces Pret, Bayesian Alpha 4. Hello, Kathy Hampton. Let's see. Dorset. Hey. Deneen. Sophia. Yeah, I'm telling you, our We Out community has shown up. Hey, Lori Butler. Hey, Tosh. Today's Tosh is off. You met her yesterday, Stephanie. She's our flight attendant sister.
Yes.
Adrian Brown, Professor LCH. Y'all are here not just because you have been on our channel. So many people. Francis is on today. Francis Benjamin is on today. I mean, we know each other because of you, Stephanie.
Yeah.
When you started, I mean, I know the origin story because I've been around a little while. 2020 was very good for bringing the content I was looking for, but showing me that Black women were doing it too. Why don't you share a little bit of that origin story on top of but you were doing this as a person who identifies as an introvert.
I am an introvert. People so often don't believe that, but I am an introvert. I'm a person who loves to spend time by myself and in my own head. And I've taken all the tests. I like to take personality tests. They always come back introvert, INFP, introvert. YouTube kind of changed the way that introverts get to operate in the world, right? Introverts get to share their message out in the world on YouTube while still being an introvert, right? While still being a person who wants to spend time in a smaller bubble, or a bubble of one, or a bubble of just a couple. But you still get to have a place and a space for you to share your stuff. Mm-hmm. So YouTube, in 2019, I started my YouTube channel, and it was mostly just because so many people had been helpful to me on YouTube, right? So many other YouTube creators had made a video or a series of videos or a whole bunch of videos that have been helpful to me as a traveler, when I start trying to name the things that I learned from YouTube, it's hard you can't cut it off. You can't.
Right.
I've learned how to do a lot of stuff on YouTube as a traveler, as a business owner, as a house sitter, as a person who needs to know how to use every type of coffee maker there is because I'm a house sitter, right? Somebody has taken the time to make some videos on YouTube, and those videos have really helped me live better. And so it happened that I wanted to contribute to that. I wanted to put my 2 cents in on YouTube and show Black women this thing. And so all of this happened because I have a YouTube channel, and Rashida has a YouTube channel, and we together have YouTube channels, and we share this information out there. But yeah, YouTube is super introvert friendly. I appreciate YouTube for that.
I have to say this.
Yes.
Okay, when you say you can learn anything on YouTube, I learned how to fix a toilet. I learned how to make an appliance work while I was doing a pet sit overseas. YouTube can help you learn anything. So why not let YouTube and your community help you learn how to make that move?
That's right.
That you desire.
That's right.
Or do something as simple as make new friends.
Yeah.
I have to say, I've got, let's see, so it says I have some extroverted properties, more introverted than extroverted, but I think the reason why my Myers-Briggs is slightly shifting is because of the Exodus Summit community, some of the vision work I did after my first career break in 2022.
Okay.
And so I didn't know that I was looking for friends until I was looking at the patterns on my vision board. And I've talked about that on this channel before. And I was like, there's friendship. Like, I need people. Like, if I can go out in the world, if you can go out in the world and learn new things, why do you need people? Why can't you just use this one, modality? You've got ChatGPT and, technology can do things for you, but there's something special about human interaction. And I think I see that a lot in what you all present as Exodus Summit, what you present, Stephanie, as a person in the world. How do you see, is there a difference that you see?
We are humans, and I think we're just made to be in community. And I don't think you can operate on a high level. And I don't mean high level. Sometimes when people say high level, they mean like super achiever. I just mean be yourself. I don't think you can be your best self without people, without being in community with other people. It doesn't have to be thousands of people, but we're not made to do everything on our own. We're not made to operate as a person of one. We're not made to operate as like the rugged individualists, right? I do it all by myself. We're supposed to be in community with one another, and you're not your whole self and your best self without it. I sincerely believe that because I've seen it. I've been me. I've been a person who didn't have community with other people, even though there were people around. There was no real community, no real connection. And that version of me was not operating well. She was sinking, right? She was drowning. She was going under. And now here I am, a person who can rely on community and not just contribute to it, but also receive from it, right? Give and take from friends, from community, from relationships. And now I'm such a better functioning me, right? I'm a better version of me. I'm convinced we have to have it. I love elephants. Elephants are an animal that when I was a kid, even when I was old enough to know that people don't become elephants, right? As a kid, I wanted to be an elephant. When you would ask me what I want to be, hi, Stephanie, what do you want to be? I want to be an elephant.
Wow.
I don't know what that was about, but I happen to know as an adult that elephants are really solidly in community with one another.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's what that was. I knew maybe I read a book somewhere about how elephants operate, and that you don't see an elephant by itself. And when a mother elephant gives birth, elephants come from all over to help her. They celebrate together. They do the little trunk raise and they celebrate together. But then other elephants stand that baby up and clean that baby off, right? They're in community with one another. And I think we like to think that we're such a superior animal, but we're still an animal. And we still need to function in the way that we were designed to function. And I think that way is in community with relationships with one another.
I'm going to share a little bit of Ulonda and I's journey. It's why we decided to do this interview with you together. You're learning new things. You're encountering a beautiful community. I mean, Exodus Summit is well over 16,000 women. Exodus Summit is both an event. We meet every weekend of the Indigenous peoples holiday weekend. But we also are a Facebook group of the over 16,000 women. And when you're an introvert, it can feel really overwhelming, like you're swallowed up into this larger group. Or if you're just watching Stephanie on the weekend and it's 700 of us chatting together, trying to break the internet, apparently, you can still not feel something. But I think what is key for those of us who are introverts or socially awkward or socially anxious, we tend to kind of sit back a little bit and we're looking for something. And so much of Yolanda's personal story that she was sharing as a house sitter, as a mom, really resonated with me, and we connected to the point where this socially awkward woman who only does plant sits searched for and got a pet sit in Houston the week before Yolanda was supposed to leave for Spain.
That was so okay. So yes, I was getting ready to. What was it like? Yeah, maybe 2 weeks before I was moving to Spain. I wanted to have one big, last hurrah with me at the Texas Sisters meetup. That I had kind of created and kind of like just was so excited about just meeting other Black women with similar goals or just had goals and being the loudmouth support system that I could possibly be. The fact that I knew that Danica was like, I don't do pet sits, I just do house sits. And she made that choice to come down to Houston. And it was so funny because I was waiting, I was like, where's she at? Where is she? I mean, because we had I think we had about 25 women that it was just so fulfilling and beautiful. I can't say enough great things about it. But and there's a picture I think that's even posted on this Exodus Summit Facebook group. When Danica got there, and she shared with me that she was having some social anxiety about this whole journey and even coming. But when Winsome and Janae Hall, the Luxury Vagabond, and Big Up Yourself, it was like Winsome from Big Up Yourself gave her a hug, and it was like that soul connection. It was just so beautiful. I'm getting chills just talking about it right now.
I remember. I've seen that picture. Yes.
Yes.
And Dr. Linda.
Yeah, Dr. Linda.
There were it's what I hope that you all are hearing is you can do it. I posted in the group because I had a channel. I connected with people because I found things that were connection points. It was hard for me to say, I'm going to put myself in a new environment. I don't know a lot of these people. I don't know those kinds of experiences. You're confident as a person. I mean, and I lead teams for work, but it taps into the testosterone that I just am exhausted by the time I'm in social spaces to continue to need to push myself. But in my brain, I said, Stephanie says that this is a community of people that greet each other with loving kindness. They are not concerned about what I'm wearing. Their first question is not going to be, what do you do? Where do you work? What kind of car do you drive? Is your hair just right? It's not that community. And so moving in those spaces and feeling that love I was like, every person, especially when you're in your 40s and 50s, when it's really a little bit more difficult, is that you can find your tribe, you can find your people, but it may be some steps. Can you talk, Stephanie, a little bit about why you said that? I mean, because the first time I met you, you said, I'm going to be in Nashville. I'm doing a house sit in Nashville. And I was like, I want to meet you because I want to know if you're the person that I see on the internet, the vibe, the energy that I feel. Is it the same when we're in person? Can you talk about that, greeting each other with loving kindness?
Yes. So I know that there are people who have experiences with people, even with Black women, that haven't been good, right? Haven't been positive, have contributed to, maybe a reason that may contribute to your feelings of anxiety or social anxiety. And I just want people to know that that's not this, right? There are different kinds of people. There are different ways that Black women operate when we're in community with one another. and the Exodus Summit community in particular prioritizes treating each other with loving kindness, prioritizes support, and not the other stuff that some of you may have experienced, right? Some of you may have experienced some negative things, and I just wanted to make sure that Black women know what this is, right? What
It's
that
not a
space is.
competition.
It's not
It's not a
that.
competition.
It's not, you're right. And so but I know, right? People have had all these different experiences. We wouldn't feel social anxiety. We wouldn't feel fear about walking into these situations if we hadn't had some bad experiences before. And so I think it's really important to name some stuff, say out loud what it is. And so that's why I said this. Here's what we do here. Right? It helps you, the person who may be walking into a thing feeling fearful. It also helps the person who comes to stir up some of that bad stuff. No,
Hey,
she's in the wrong place, girl. You in the wrong place. Don't do that here. You might do that someplace else, but you're not going to do that here. Yeah, I think it's important. I think that what the heart, I don't know, listen, not a therapist, but I think it's harder to navigate being an introvert, being a person with social anxiety, being just a person who feels awkward. It's harder to navigate those things when you're trying to pretend that you're not, right? It's so much harder to try to pretend that I'm not having a hard time, or pretend that I'm not feeling nervous, or pretend that I'm not afraid, than it is to just say, I'm going into this situation, y'all, I'm afraid. And so I hope that we can create a space where people can be like, this is scary. I'm afraid, I'm nervous. And then let that go and not have to do all of that pretending and all that shield having and all that stuff, because that makes it 10 times harder to navigate situations. It makes it 10 times harder to just deal with it. And it makes it impossible to connect with people if you're so busy pretending like things are okay, pretending like you're not feeling these things. So we just want to make sure that we have spaces where you can say, I'm sinking, or I'm afraid, or this is hard, or something, and not feel like it's going to be held over your head, or people are going to judge you or accuse you of something, right? Instead, you have people who be like, girl, me too.
me too. This is the biggest Me Too community for sure.
Yes.
For sure. Let's see. So I put up this comment because I think I don't think that we recognize the talents we have. I know, and she wouldn't mind me saying it because she says it on her channel all the time. Winsome is socially anxious, but she becomes the hospitality committee.
Yeah.
She's going to make sure you are seen, that when you come in, I mean, like Ulonda like plants the name tags, and she brought prizes and did, raffles every time. I was just like, this is how you want to feel seen and cared for. We went around the circle and shared, where we're going, and so that people can find other connection points. But like I said, at no time was I called out of myself. I think I was able to ease in, or even if I needed time to back away. Those of us who are socially awkward, who might be introverts, kind of need to be in the space and then come out and take some deep breaths and go back in. But I want to make sure that people recognize that when you're trying to find your people, there are some hallmarks that you're looking for.
Yeah.
There are some things where you're going to know instantly, this is my tribe. These are my people. Or I can find at least one person to connect with, and then that they're going to introduce me. And that's something that I love that you said. You said, look here, introverts. Look here, socially awkward people. You just put yourself in proximity to those extroverts, and they'll bring you along. If you are willing, they'll bring you along.
Every time. And
the thing is I want to also say, by Dee just making that decision to step into and step out of and step into the embrace, the warm embrace that was being offered, that's being offered throughout the entire community. What's so great is her stepping into it allows other introverts to see, like, it's okay. They felt a calm resolve, like, oh,
Oh,
we see each other, and I know. And it just gave, because it's an introvert being around is just as impactful and just as important as an extrovert being around. You are needed. I need that balance. Absolutely.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. It's really natural to like you just talked about, when some downplaying her gifts, or not, maybe downplaying her gifts, right? We also downplay the who we are in with respect to people, right? And we think, well, I'm the introvert and that's bad and that's wrong, or I'm this and that. We need those people.
Mhm.
We need that, because like you said, balance is important. Everybody can't be on 10. Okay. How are we gonna hear what's being said if everybody is the loud, you call it the loudmouth support system? I love that, right? Everybody can't be the loudmouth in the support system, right? Sometimes you need the quiet support, right?
And it's
And
taught me how to sometimes shut up.
yes,
Okay.
extroverts love an introvert. Extroverts love that. And if you're not there, then who? It's just them being extroverts together. You
It's draining. It's
need you.
draining.
They need you there. Yeah, I think one of the best things that you can do for yourself is to stop judging yourself, right? It's
Mhm.
okay to take stock of your qualities and your characteristics. Take stock of them, but erase the value that you place by them. Right? You'll be like, well, I'm this, and that's a negative 80, and I'm this, and that's a negative 440. Erase the balance sheet. These are just
Mm.
there's no value or lack of value in any of them, right? And none of them are more valuable than the other. No parts of you, no parts of humanity are more valuable than another. So erase the value. It's okay to be like, I'm an introvert. I'm socially awkward. It's okay to be like, I'm a loudmouth. I'm a cheerleader.
Yeah.
There's none of those is more or less valuable. Erase that part. It's okay to take stock. I love to take stock of things, and I'm this kind of person, and but the where we go wrong is when we say that one thing is a whole lot less valuable, a whole lot less needed, or just flat out wrong. Sometimes we tell ourselves it's just wrong. This part of me is wrong, and this part of me is bad, and this part of me is shameful. No such thing. I think I have been called shameless a time or two, but I really appreciate that I don't lean into shame. I don't feel shame about a lot of things. They are what they are. I am me,
Mhm.
and I don't have to walk around in shame about that.
Mercy.
And I'm really glad to see women, Black women, walk into spaces and be like, I am like this. Right? I am socially awkward. I am anxious. I am nervous. I am timid. Okay, be that. Thank you. We don't have to assign a value to it.
That's beautiful. Y'all, I mean, if you're in this space, and I see lots of people in the chat saying this is the conversation. This is the conversation I needed to hear. I needed to hear other people say there's space for all of us.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there are you can find your community, you can find your tribe where being your authentic self. So I went looking to see if anybody else on the internet was talking about this. And Tiffany Livine talked about finding how to find and align with your tribe to be your full self. And she was like, a lot of us are energetic people. Like, you can feel the vibration of the room you're entering,
Yeah.
the virtual space that you're entering. We are very, we vibe off of that, and that you can know that you can lean into those spaces in your full authentic, in your full authentic self, and bloom. I mean, so I'm going to call out a couple of people in the chat today. I was I was yes to house sitting, and I was just like, as much as Stephanie is talking about you don't have to be concerned, have the house sitter introduce you to the neighbors, because the neighbors are not going to come for you. Black women are out here house sitting. Black women are out here traveling. There are places in the world where we are welcomed. But Diamond's community helped me to say, okay, I can get in community with other people doing this one particular new thing. So Sisters Who Sit has just blessed me over and over again to be able to have a resource where I can just talk about how I want to grow in that particular way. I never would have met Dr. Donna, the art appraiser, without the YouTube accountability group from the 2022 Exodus Summit. She got in there, she was like, I started a channel. And I was like, I don't know nothing about art appraising, but this is what I can do as a socially awkward introvert. I can like your channel, I can subscribe, I can give comments, and then give comments directly to you in this community of supportive people who want nothing but for you to grow in the way that is authentic and loving and a champion for you. I just, I never would have met Anita without being going to Morocco. Y'all, 100 Black women together. I shared in that, No Friends at 50 video that I did when I was in Morocco, that said I was packing my clothes. And I was like, you don't have to worry about, these women are not going to try to judge your size. They're not going to judge you in that way. And that I was able to meet people like Anita that spoke this year at the summit about bopping around. And she helped just before we went to Spain to do our scouting trip. Not only are we willing to give space, we are willing to give to each other in ways that I think in other communities, they want to charge for that access. There's a whole lot more gatekeeping. There's a whole lot more of that. So Yolanda, why don't the We Out community is at no charge. Like, we're giving support to each other. Can you share with Stephanie and the audience we invite women into the group, and within the last 2 weeks, what's happened in the We Out community?
Okay, so we knew that Exodus Summit 2024 was coming up, and we were like at I think about 60 before. Mm-hmm. Yeah, about 60 before Exodus Summit, but we knew that it was coming up, and we were updating because we were like Exodus Summit 2024 because that's when we started it. So I was like, I think we started a few months ago to really kind of outline more, like, and have more focused topics about the emotions that we go through, or some of the challenges that we might experience with whatever the next move in our journey is. And so I created a welcome guide. Yeah, I created a whole welcome guide for We Out, and then we did the rebranding. And baby, over the Exodus Summit weekend, we went from 60 to like 170 in just a matter of a few hours. And I literally went in there and I had to tell like the existing members, like, look, y'all, okay, it's about to blow up in here. And the thing is, I remember saying, I feel like we're ushering in the freshman class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just want to make sure that we're supporting and showing them, as much support, and letting them know that it's okay. Come on in. We know you're scared. So are we. So are we. Don't, so are we. Extroverts get scared too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, that's a big
wonderful.
thing.
That's wonderful. It can be, it's daunting to see your group size increase that much in one weekend. But it also means that people they're showing up because they know that it's a good place. They know that it's a safe place for them. They know that it's a place that's going to be warm and welcoming and not awful and scary. So
we did like a we did that following weekend after the Exodus Summit when we had so many new members. It's like, okay, we usually do our virtual meetups monthly on the second Sunday of each month. And I reached out, I was like, I think we need to do an extra meeting just to give people an idea of how we want to support Black women in this community, to make sure that it's a very welcoming, loving, respectful environment.
Yeah.
And so we intended to do a 1 hour virtual meetup that following Saturday. Yeah, we did our standard 2 hours.
Yeah. Did everybody is it a time for people to introduce themselves?
That was
Yes.
all we really did. And then we walked through how to leverage the Exodus Summit Facebook group to make sure you are getting your questions answered. You're finding people in your area or going to the place that you want to go to. This is how to make sure you're getting out of the Exodus Summit group what I probably figure you joined the group in the first place to do, because the smaller groups really give you that deeper contact. So, it's happened. I feel like it's happened very naturally for, Exodus Summit women that have gone to Morocco. If you're in the meetup groups, if you are a business owner, if you're a house sitter, if you are co-living, these communities are evolving, not because it's not just because we're coalescing around a particular topic, but I think what we see from you, Stephanie, what we see from Rashida is I can go so much farther in community, and I don't have to have all the knowledge, but I do have to be willing to support. So all right. So we've been talking about, finding your tribe. We've been talking about, kind of identifying your social anxiety, recognizing that you have value. But what I learned is that socially awkward people got something to say.
Absolutely.
We got something to say, and YouTube is the place we are doing the thing.
Yeah.
So can you talk about what your journey is and how you as a socially awkward person, or not socially awkward, an introverted person is allowing YouTube to help you to spread this community message?
Yeah. So YouTube is me talking to a green circle, right? And making videos. It's super introvert friendly. A lot of people think you have to be an extrovert for some reason, but I find that extroverts don't like YouTube as much as a platform because you're talking to a green circle. They wear all the people, right? But YouTube makes it pretty easy. I come up with some things that I want to cover in this video, and then I cover it in the video, and then I can go on, get back under the covers, go back, get to bed, get back under the covers. Even on a live stream in the chat. Live stream in the chat is probably the scariest thing for a lot of introverts. Because there is a lot coming at you, or there can be, not always, but there can be a lot coming at you and a lot to navigate at one time. But even that, if you decide you want to stop reading the chat, you just stop reading the chat. None of it. YouTube is really individual. You can make it whatever you want to make it. You can handle things that you want to handle things. If you never want to do a live stream, you don't have to do a live stream. You can pre-record everything. If you want to do all live streams, if you want to meet up with the people in person, right? If you want to do a video and have people right behind you in the real world, however you want to navigate things, YouTube lets you do that. It's a really good place for an introvert to start to expand. I'm not saying you have to stop being an introvert, but because we've decided that as humans, we do operate best in community with other people. You can stretch a little bit when you're inside of YouTube. It's a pretty easy place to try and experiment And if that thing didn't work out, okay, well, maybe I don't do that thing again, or maybe I do. There's not a whole lot of this is how it has to be done. There's no one right way to do YouTube. So it's really good. It's been amazing for me. I'm a talker. I'm an introvert and a talker. And so YouTube is like the perfect fit for me. For other people, if I think being a talker and being an introvert are not exclusive. For some reason, my hotel phone is ringing. I'm sorry. Being a talker and being an introvert are not exclusive. A lot of introverts are also talkers because we have a lot of thoughts. We have a lot of opinions.
And we're usually saying it to ourselves. So having an audience, y'all, I love that Stephanie says, I named my dot. What did you name your webcam?
Charmaine, my little green circle.
Charmaine.
When you talk to Charmaine, Charmaine was a real person in my life who I wanted to quit her job and take a sabbatical. And so when I started my channel, I'll be sitting down talking to Charmaine. I was still nervous, right? Recording videos, not be, bouncing and anxious and everything. But I would just say, this is a conversation for Charmaine. What do I want to make sure that Charmaine comes away with in this video? Mm-hmm. And that's how I approach YouTube, even hundreds of videos in. What does Charmaine need? Let me talk to her. We can do things one-to-one. Most of us can handle things one-to-one. And so you can treat YouTube like it's a one-to-one platform. Even if hundreds of people are going to end up watching this video, you could still treat it like it's one person, like you're talking to one person. In fact, that's pretty helpful. It really helps you outline or come up with a real helpful video. Mm-hmm. Because if you're trying to help everybody, you're going to be all over the place. But if you have a person that you want to help with a thing, and that's how you approach your YouTube video, you're probably going to see some good success. You're going to see a lot of people going, that video was really helpful to me. And you'd be like, well, I didn't make it for you, but I'm glad, right? I made that for Charmaine, but I'm glad it helped you, right? Pisces tells us we're all collectively Charmaine. Y'all are Charmaine, right?
I had not thought about that. My husband struggles to look at the dot. And I was just like, I've probably been looking at this dot or something similar my whole life. Like, I was talking to my stuffed animals, when I was younger. I've been able to, kind of engage in that. That was a natural outcropping of how I think and how I process. And so talking to, my YouTube dot it was not a stretch for me. But recognizing that I had something to say and that what I needed to say had value and could resonate with more people, I think is really important. Francis Benjamin and I have connected. We connected over HR. We were like, we're recovering HR professionals. But we had the first meeting, the first We Out meeting, and Francis said, I rent my house. This is how organically things happen. I rent my house, and several other people were like, I'm renting my house or a room, or I have an Airbnb like Anita. And they were like, okay, then, several people were like, I'd like to talk more about that. They started literally from the first meeting, they were like, okay, we're going to go over here and then we're going to do this thing because we can help each other. And I was just like, I've just probably not since college have I been in such an organic kind of community. So I think this is a good pivot point. Is 50 a hard and fast rule? Can we round up? Look,
or round down.
I feel like I think there's a little bit of anxiety that comes with perimenopause and menopause also. Like we pull back a little bit in our brains. So can you talk about, have you changed? Has your introverted nature changed over time? Are you noticing things about yourself in this peri journey?
I did start feeling anxiety for the first time. I have not been an anxious person at all in my life. It's just not a thing, right? I have not. But over the last 2 or 3 years, small things would just really work me up, right? I'm like, why am I feeling so anxious about this? Why am I so? And it's a new thing. I assume it was perimenopause. So I'm just blaming it all on her. Okay, but yeah, it's a new thing. Could be that. It could just be being in a new part of life, right? Just being, just doing things in a different way in my life. But yeah, some things did change. I think the introversion is less noticeable. I think I lived my life as an introverted hermit, right? As a real, like, I once I'm in the house, I'm in the house for weeks and weeks, that kind of person. And I think that that is starting to less of that now. I still
Mhm.
enjoy being in the house for weeks and weeks, but I do seek out opportunities to be with people in a way that I never did before. Before, listen, you got to come to me, okay? But now I do seek out opportunities because I see how valuable it is, and I see how much I regret it when I don't, right? Like if there was a meetup in Atlanta and I'm the person who would be in Atlanta, I'd be in the hotel and not go to the meetup, right? I'm that person. I've done it. I've done it with conferences and events. I'm here. I'm in the place. I'm in the space. All I got to do is get on the elevator. I'm not going. Right. I've gone from that person to the person who's like kind of semi planning and organizing the meetup. So my introversion has changed, or I would say this: I'm operating differently, even though I'm still an introvert. I operate differently because I really just see the value of community and connection. And I don't like regret. I don't like regret more than I like the comfort of staying in my bed. I don't like oh, I missed it. Oh, so and so was there. Oh, I didn't know. She told you about what such and such. I didn't even know she was doing that. I wish I had been there to find out about that. So the regret, being older, has my regret tolerance is
Mhm.
a lot lower. I don't have much
Mhm.
regret anymore. I don't want to deal with it. So I make sure that I do things so that I don't have to feel the regret, including being in community with people, including saying, "Hey y'all, I'm in Atlanta. Let's get together," which is a thing I would never have done in my 30s. The 30-year-old me would never have. I wouldn't have even stepped foot in a meetup, right?
Mhm.
Because the New York crew they still met up, even though, I mean, when you were in California, I mean, this is not onesie twosies like some of the meetups that I've helped to pull together. If Stephanie says she's going to be in a place, y'all, we might get 100 people in a space. We might get 50 people in a space. Yesterday, I know we were at least 40 or more.
At
Um,
one time, we had over 50 at one time, so I'm guessing probably 60, 70 women passed through during
When
the
you were in Houston for the not the Janet Jackson. Oh my gosh, did I really just say that? For the Beyonce concert. Yeah, and we met in downtown Houston. I don't even know how many women were there, but that was a crazy big turnout.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So there was a time when I wouldn't even I didn't go to was it my 41st or my 30, no, it's my 39th birthday. I didn't go to my 39th birthday party. I didn't go. I just couldn't. I couldn't go. It was at my mom's house. It wasn't even at a strange place. My mom, because she invited people over, her and my dad got carried away, and they invited people over, and had a cousin from California, and some of his family came over. I don't know them people. I couldn't go, so I didn't go. So for me to be like, I'm here, y'all come, let's get together. And I know it's going to be 50 people there. I know it's going to be 40, 60 people there. And to still come means that I've learned how to navigate this because I don't want to regret it later. I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I wish it would have been nice to have at least be able to hug Danica, to hug D one time. It would have been nice to be able to do whatever. That regret is now driving me in a way that it didn't before.
mhm. It's interesting that you're talking about that because I think those of us who um, identify as introvert or socially awkward or socially anxious, sometimes we shrink our world.
Right.
I think we shrink our world to what is comfortable to us. So my home, I have the comfortable couch. I have things set up. You know, I know some of my introverted friends who, if their friends don't call and get permission and they ring the doorbell, they will look at them like through the window. You didn't call. I close the window and I go back and sit on the couch. Like, look, I don't have the capacity. I need the ability to control proximity to me. I have to have that recovery time. But I am inviting, if you are in your 30s or 40s or 50s or 50s plus, that you can begin to expand your world. And I'm sharing this because I'm expanding my world. My vision board was done in 2022 after having 3 months, not enough, but 3 months of time to just rest and then begin to feel who I am in my body, and then allow that to be manifest in this vision board that continues to manifest friendships and travel and other experiences. I am hungry. If you are hungry, and a lot of us recognize we have more years behind us than are in front of us, and that experiences are what we seek.
Yeah.
Someone asked, how do I find the We Out community? You have to join the Exodus Summit community. So I will make sure that I have a link to the Exodus Summit community in the description. Now, Ulonda, I don't know if you can drop that in or not. It won't. If it doesn't allow you to, I'll make sure that it's in the description, y'all. But there's a path for those of us who are introverts. So one way that I have slowly expanded my world is the meetups. They are both virtual and in person. The accountability groups that meet regularly, most of the time are virtual. They sometimes meet in person. I met some of the We Out community at yesterday's Atlanta. There were like 8 of us in the room, both existing members and people who joined while we were in the space.
Did y'all get a picture together?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
We did. I need to make sure that I put it in the group. I'll add it to the videos that you have posted. But, it's, you've got that, but then you also can expand into house sitting. House sitting can take you places that normally you might have said, well, look, I can do a little something. I'm a friend of pets. I think that's how you describe it. I can be a friend of pets. I'm a responsible person. I can water a plant. And then that puts me in proximity to some people that I might have wanted to reach out to, or to explore the world in a new, measured way.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So I want to have you kind of talk about what are the opportunities as an introvert that I think many of the things that you talk about on your channel, Stephanie, that really are entryways for those who are trying out blooming as an introvert or socially awkward person.
I think the onesies and twosies connection is really helpful. Find one person who you be like, I like her. You get vibes from people on the internet, right? Just inside of a Facebook group, on their YouTube channel, right? That's how I make most of my friends today are people who either I saw them on YouTube or something. And I was like, I like her. You have to be vulnerable, right? You have to be okay with somebody saying, no, thank you, right? But, and a message to somebody is the beginning of a friendship. It's the beginning of a long, lifelong friendship, the beginning of a real relationship, a real connection. So reaching out to one person and being like, hey, I'm so-and-so. Would you like to be friends? Like you can really say to somebody, do you want to be friends? And sometimes people
literally,
yes. If you don't want to go that, maybe you don't want to commit to being their friend yet. But do you want to have a conversation?
Let's get together for some coffee. Let's hang out. Let's talk. Let's have a little virtual coffee chat.
Zoom? Can we do a Zoom coffee?
It's how I met It's how I met several ladies before the meetup.
Good.
They just said, "Hey, let's schedule a Zoom," and we chatted for about 20, 30 minutes just to meet.
Mhm.
Just to meet you.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to try. I think that's probably the thing that is the most pivotal. Is there are lots of opportunities, but the willingness to try.
I think that this goes back to the shame conversation. If you
Mhm.
think that there is some shame in being you, all right, then you're going to be a whole lot less willing to be vulnerable, to be open with people. You're going to have to wear this mask, or masks plural, and so you're not going to be able to put yourself out there to people. But if you can say, this is me, okay, somebody's going to like me, now let me go out and find that somebody, then you're in such a much better position, right? Reaching out to people has paid off for me so well. Reaching out to one person at a time, or reaching out to people and being like, hey, do you want to do XYZ? Do you want to talk? Do you want to Zoom? um, it requires you to be okay with sometimes somebody saying no. Now, people hardly ever say no, right? But you have to be okay with it. And that, I think, comes with you also having to not shame spiral, right?
Mhm.
If it is a no, if it is I'm busy, or I didn't even reply to your message because I didn't see it, right? You can't then go into this spiral of, I knew it, I'm this and I'm that, and nobody wants this and nobody wants that. You're just setting yourself up for failure. You have to be able to let go of to let go of the value judgments, and just decide, this is worth it. I'm going to reach out to people. Some yes, I'll get some yeses, I'll get some nos.
I was just going to share that, and I'm not going to say that because the person's in the chat right now, so you know who you are. And if you want me to share your name, I will. But there's a young lady that just moved over here to Spain. Um, and she's been following us for a while and stuff. But anyways, it's just so funny because she is truly an introvert. And I was like, hey, come on my channel, because I didn't realize that she was an introvert at the time. I was like, I want to talk to you because I think we cool. I like you. Let's talk about your journey because you want to move to Spain just like this Black woman did. And she's here now. And I was like, oh, so I had like my whole meetup in Zaragoza last week, and I had some extra spots. And I was like, you're here in Zaragoza? Let's get together. Come on. We're going out. We're going to have dinner. And she's like, girl, I'm sitting down. She's the introvert. She's like, I'm sitting down. Slow. She didn't say that to me, but it was just like, I know. I was like, oh my God, I just want to meet you and give you a hug. And I know I'm a lot. But I did connect her with my daughter here in Zaragoza so they can talk on that same level. Okay.
Good.
For great points.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah, Beijing, hey girl.
Yes. Yeah, I was like, come on now, come on through. I did not know that either. So yeah, I'll slow my roll then.
But the thing is this, she knew her introvert personality that was like, I don't know, I had kind of given her some insight about if she was considering whether it was Zaragoza or some other places that she maybe not move to the outskirts, okay,
Right.
completely.
Mhm.
Maybe start inside the city so you'll be forced to maybe do some connections. Nothing that you have to do. If you want to sit on your couch and just chill, that's fine too, but at least not just be out in a smaller community where you will have a harder time getting access um, more crazy folks like me. But she knows, Beijing, I think, knows that, I'm here for you. I want to support you in any way that I can. But also know to step back and let her do things at her own pace,
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
know, and give her as much of the best resources possible. So yes, there's a yin to and a yang to having an extrovert introvert connection with someone.
Yes. Butterfly effect is saying something that if you are part of the Exodus Summit community, this right here, rejection can be tough, especially when you live in a country that continuously rejects you. Stephanie, your 2025 starter story, I think it was 2020, not 2025, 2015,
Uh-huh.
journey of I'm looking for, you said, baby, you set me free with this. You can be running from and running towards something at the same time. Can you talk about this, as we're talking about incorporating things like travel, move abroad as a introvert?
Yeah, I knew that I wanted something better in my life. I knew that I wanted a full life.
Mhm.
And so I was moving towards that. People assumed I was running away from things. But I don't see a problem with running away from stuff. We're supposed that like we're designed to run away from the danger, right? So I don't have a problem with running away from stuff, but you're also running towards a new thing. I was running for my life towards a life, right? Instead
Mhm.
of the rumination that I was living in. I was living in this cycle of here's what I don't have, here's what I don't have, here's what I don't deserve, here's what I didn't get. And I ran for my life away from that and towards a new life of abundance and peace. I think that if butterfly effect is talking about like actual literal rejection from people inside of in the context of looking for friends,
Mhm.
it's probably rarely rejection. I think we will interpret it as rejection. That's the story we tell ourselves, but it's
Mhm.
probably something else, right? It's probably I forgot, I'm busy. I got a lot weighing on me. My mom's in the hospital, right? It's often something else and not flat out rejection. But frankly, even if it is, it's one thing. It's one event. It's not now I knew it, right? We don't have to go into the whole I knew it. People don't like me and I don't know, I'm not nobody's friends and this. It's not all of that. It's one example, it's one event. If we fall into that spiral, and it looks like it's what do they call it? I just use this word. If it looks like it's validating something, we're probably
Mhm.
stating what's happened. It's probably just a one-time thing. Or people out there. If we live our lives with a fear of rejection, we have closed ourselves off to so many amazing. Not okay. If we let the fear of rejection win,
Mhm.
we closed ourselves off to so many amazing opportunities.
I just okay, so y- she probably doesn't know how much I adore her. Glamzini, Roshni, she changes my Friday life. You hear me? So I'm just gonna shout out Roshni right now. But this idea that I am destined to be a new person over the course of my life. I am reinventing. I am always becoming. I'm always learning. Is that I mean, watching your journey, you know, Yolanda's a little older than me. I'll say it that way. Yolanda's a little
Yeah.
older than me, just slightly. And what I'm seeing is that I can learn from those who are younger than me
Uh-huh.
and those who are older than me, and that I can recognize parts of myself that, what did she say? I am a Black woman healing. Let's
Hmm.
just give
Mhm.
space for that. And as I heal, I can center newness in my life. Would either of you like to speak to that?
Lately, I've realized that I've been living a lot of my life in the future. I've been living a lot like for the future,
Mhm.
not present to today. And I think some of that, I want to say this the right way. Yes, we're always evolving and we're always growing, but you also have to really like where you are now and who you are.
Mhm.
So yes, we want to grow and we want to evolve and we want better, but you also have to like today because today is the only real you. This is the you that you got. This is the you got. You have to like who you are now and not put off the good until you get to that new evolved and growing person. Because I'm not a fan of that magic number living. Whether it's I'll put off my life until I'm 65, right? Or I'll put off my life until I'm married, or I'll put off my life until I'm a better person or something. I'll put off my life until my scale says I'm worthy, until my scale shows this number on it.
Rejected.
It's like that. It's so dangerous. It's throwing away the good years. Right? You don't know. You're in the good years. Yes, the next years are going to be the good years also, but you want to enjoy now. This is a place where I am right now. I got to stop always living for the future, right? I want a yacht. And so I need to enjoy today. Life is good today. I want to make sure that I'm showing myself that appreciation for who I am today. Yes, I'm growing, I'm evolving, I'm changing, I'm improving. But also, you have to like who you are right now.
Stand in your glory right now.
Right now.
Stand in your beauty right now.
Yes.
It's great to have future goals. Please do. Yes. I got plans. But right now, where am I at right now? Let's make today beautiful.
Yes.
Let's make this journey right now that you're walking into. And one of my big things, again, I got it from Oprah or somebody and stuff. You got to go through it to get to it. You have to walk through that fear, because you will straight talk yourself out of the joy that you want somewhere in your mind. You will be like, I can't even activate that thought process. So therefore I cannot activate actually taking the steps.
This might be a good spot to share something that Yolanda and I shared together as earlier in our friendship, which means earlier this year.
2023, girl.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
so we get together. We're growing in our friendship. As I said, we met in person. And Yolanda called me the night before her plane takes off from Texas. And she says, how dare I?
Yep.
How dare I do this big, bold thing in my life? She has sold her, given away most of her things. She has house sat for a year with no home. But now I'm going to leave the country and leave the way I've always lived. How dare I?
I had an emotional brick wall breakdown. I was just like, Dee, what am I doing? It was bad.
Yes.
And she listened.
This is why we need friends. This is why we need community. That's right. That's right. It's growing. Growth it hurts. It hurts. It's painful. Growth is scary. Leaving behind a version of you and moving into another version of you, you will freak out every time.
And I also want to say that the thing is this. In this group, and with Dee, I felt the ability to be vulnerable, because in my circle, even though I had the most wonderful supportive friends and family, they're like, girl, you're doing this, girl, and I felt like I couldn't show any kind of weakness. I had to just go full force. Okay. It's like, it was something that was just in me. It's like, because everybody's like, and maybe in my mind, I was like, the people are probably thinking, watch her fail. But I felt like I was able to go to Dee and just let loose about this emotions that because everything, getting all the paperwork together to, get my background check done and all these things so I can apply for the visa when I got to Spain and try to sell my car. And it was just so much. And I knew that I was going for it. But again, everybody, was just like cheering me on.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I had the option to actually really break down and show some real emotion about how freaking scared I was of doing this.
Yeah.
And so I am forever grateful to Dee for allowing me to have that few moments and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm getting on the plane. I'm leaving now. Okay. It was intense.
To have the ability to hold space, I think, is a gift that if you have an introverted friend, that they may give you we're not always trying to take the oxygen in the room, and that you can, there's I have many experiences in my life where I felt unwelcomed, unheard, and the intention that I try to give in interactions is to affirm, it's made me develop some other skills. And so the finding your tribe part, I think most of us are always searching for acceptance within
Yeah.
our family, but Exodus Summit gave me something unexpected, is you can find it in so many different points where you are both the giver and the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that a little bit too, Stephanie? Is that giving and receiving dynamic? We want to imagine having almost 17,000 people. When we meet you, there are tears because of you sharing your personal transformation and championing things that we have not heard said before. You can reject Black excellence. You can reject doing it alone. No one, being the expert is not the flex you think it is.
Yeah. I think that the idea that you can give it and receive it is crucial when we're talking
Mhm.
about community. So whether we're talking about giving and receiving support and giving and receiving encouragement, you have to be able to do both. If you're not receiving from your community, from your support system, you're not in community, right? It's not a support
Mm.
system. Now, sometimes it's really hard for us to receive those things. But you have to step back and say, here's what that means, right? If I'm not willing to receive from people, if I'm always the cheerleader and I'm not willing to let people hold me, support me, encourage me, cheer me on, I'm not only missing out, but I'm making this a worse place. I'm showing people the wrong way to utilize this space. And you're not going to like what that becomes. You're not going to like what it becomes if everything has to be one directional, right? If we're not doing reciprocity here, you're not going to like staying here. Nobody's going to want to stick around. I find that being judgmental of yourself and assuming that other people are going to be super judgmental of you is one of the first, I don't know if the easiest thing to tackle. Yo, I'm not a therapist, okay? I think thinking people are going to judge you is just you outwardly saying, I am very judgmental of myself. And I think that that's a thing that you can tackle pretty quickly. I think I've seen people tackle that pretty quickly. And it starts
Well, not unless they actually recognize it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not something until you actually recognize it and really kind of like sit and be like, why am I holding myself back? Whether it's relationships, your move, or wherever it is, why am I holding myself back?
Yeah.
And to recognize and kind of, it's not easy to necessarily identify those fears, put a name on it and try to move through that knowledge. And that's why, sometimes with the groups like We Out, that's where we come in, whether it's We Out, whether it's, whatever your focus is, that's kind of where we come in to say like, okay, sister, either I've been there or I'm with you right now, or whatever it is. It's like, maybe we can walk through this and have the discovery together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that if you're not used to it though, right? Like there are people who do recognize that I can't do XYZ because people will judge me, right? You said you were even worried, you knew that if you shared with certain people are going to be like, oh, she's going to fail, right? I think that it's a pretty easy path, I think, for people to be like, I'm afraid of being judged because I am so judgmental of myself and of other people, right? And so I really do. And I think it's a thing that I've seen people recognize that. And I've seen them say, okay, well, how do I stop being so judgmental of myself and of other people so that I'm not so afraid of the judgment of other people? I think I've seen people tackle that. And I think it comes down to the words that we say and the actions that we take and the grace that we decide to give people. Once you
'Cause we're all flawed. We're
once
all
you show
flawed,
your
and
that's right. Once you can show yourself that you can give other people grace, oh, then you're like, oh, well, I can also give myself grace. And once you give yourself grace, it's really hard to it's really hard to care what the ungracious person is going to say or do.
Y'all, I'm not sure if it was this community or another that I was self-talk.
Yes.
Someone said, pay attention to what you say to yourself.
Mhm.
And would you say those things to someone else? When I started to turn that mirror, like turn that around, and I was embarrassed, ashamed that the things that I said to myself that I would never tell another person because whether I was trying to be kind or, I was always able to find a reason why they may have been doing that and not, sit in judgment of them, in a negative way. And the process of a lot of what we struggle, those of us who are maybe socially awkward, socially anxious, is our anticipation of what people might say or the things that we have said negative to ourselves. You're talking too much. That's not important. Those other people, what they're saying is more important than what you have to say or more valuable. And so to watch the language that you give to you, I
Yes.
think was for me an important step. So if there is ever a place to begin is to is to listen, is where I would say. And then I think if you can be a better friend to yourself, then when you enter a community, then you can kind of step into that. I hold Stephanie as a beacon because this is someone who's an admitted introvert, who tested as an introvert, but also did things like workaways.
Mhm.
She's also done things like hostels. Like, you got to be a special person to want to live in community with people in a hostel.
maybe not want to, but open to. Okay.
When you when you have to afford, when you can only afford what you can afford, you'll make some concessions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so sometimes it's those needs that are the push pull,
Yeah.
that are the push
Yeah.
pull.
Yeah. It all comes down to, what life do I want to live? Whether it's I want to be able to navigate larger groups of people because I think there's community there. Or I want to be able to navigate staying in hostels because I can only afford $16 a day for accommodation in Southeast Asia, right? It's
Mhm.
all the same. It's all the same root, right? It's like there's a way that I want to live, and it's counter to how I've been living. It's counter to how I feel comfortable. It's not how I feel comfortable. But I want to stretch a little bit. You said, right? You want to expand your world. This is the same thing, right? It's expanding your world in one way or another. I learned, I was 40. I think a 20-year-old version of me staying in hostels, I probably would have come home pretty quickly. But the 40-year-old version of me staying in hostels and doing work exchanges and stuff, I had more experience navigating situations that are a little uncomfortable is not the right word, but not introvert friendly, let's just say, right? I have more experience navigating those situations. And so I have more of a system, right? I got a system. Um, it's just that. It's like, what do I want for myself? Am I going to let this part of me control the rest of me? Am I going to let introvert me be in charge of my entire future? Am I going to let socially awkward me or hermit me, right? I'm a hermit. Am I going to let hermit me have the say over my entire future when I know that these other there is a version of my future that is going to require me to not be a hermit, at least not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's that.
Because we got to recover. We have to. That's if you don't know people who are socially awkward or introverts, we will do the thing and then we have to come away and rest, and need that.
I'm
But
in my room. I'm in my room right now. So we had the meetup yesterday. So listen, before the meetup, there was a pre-party in my room, right? We did it live on YouTube. We had the meetup. After the meetup, we go to the bar inside of the hotel. So I got back into my room at 8 p.m. If it wasn't for the fact that the Uber Eats delivery person wouldn't come up here, I would not leave. I'm not leaving this room except I went downstairs already to get my Uber Eats, right? I'm in the house. I'm in the house, right? I have a system. This is my recovery system before and after. I know how to navigate this space, is what I'm saying. I know how to navigate being an introvert and doing extroverted things for a while. And it just comes down to trying things out, seeing what works for you in your life, and then putting that in place so that you don't have to regret going out. I don't have to regret that I spent all day yesterday with everybody because I'm in the house today.
I promise you that that is, I thought I was unique. I'm not unique in that way. I
We all navigate these things.
Very much. And the thing is, because some people like think or try to equate being an introvert with being socially awkward. Socially awkward is by itself. Because
Yeah.
I know I'm an extrovert, but I know I'm socially awkward. I'll be completely clueless on some things. And like my sister-in-law is here visiting right now, and she'll like say like things that I just don't catch. Like, did you see that guy looking at you? And I'm like, who? Okay, just
Mhm.
what? Okay.
Yeah.
Or just in just random situations. I know that I'm socially awkward. I know one of the things is that I have been doing some YouTube channels and doing pre-recordeds for a while, and then I kind of stopped because life was happening and I was just so busy. And Rashida was like, "Girl, just do lives." And I was like, "No, I can't do lives because I'm the and like and all that stuff kind of girl. I have those in between words and moments or whatever where I lose train of thought and I go squirrel, and I'll be like, I was talking about something. What was I just talking about? I don't know." So,
we get
so.
you.
So but all that to say, it's like I embrace the part of me that is the extrovert, even though I am somewhere in my mind constantly second guessing and constantly thinking like, did I do that right? Did I answer that question right? And but the key is this, what I've learned so far is I don't have to be the all-knowing person. I'm just sharing my experiences and hopefully
Mhm.
giving some insight where you don't have to reinvent the wheel, which is exactly what Stephanie and what we're doing right now. We're sharing our experiences to let you know that you're not alone. You are absolutely not alone.
That's right. That's right. This is why vulnerability is so important because you will convince yourself that you're the only one and you're so terrible until you open up your mouth and you say, "Here's the thing. Here's a struggle I have, or here's a thing that I do," and everybody else is like, "Oh yeah, me too." And then that pressure is off. It feels so
Mm-hmm.
good. It feels so good just to have somebody else be like, "Oh yeah, me too." I mean, right? And so it's so important to have a place and a space where you can share and where you can open up because you're always going to overblow, right? Overblow the situation in your own head. once you put it out into the world and other people be like, oh yeah, I did that too. Oh yeah, this happened to me too. Oh yeah. Yeah. What a lightning, what a lifting. You feel so much better. And it helps you be more in community with people. You don't have to carry that mask. Nobody wants to make friends with a mask, right? Makes it more easy. It makes it so much easier to have real friendships, real connection with people. You don't need a million friends. You don't need a million friends. One good friend will change your life, but it's hard to make one good friend if you can't be a real person, if you can't open up and be a human being.
I love it. I love it. There are some beautiful people in the comments. Kathy Hampton's community of journaling. Kathy and I were in the YouTube Success Society together. I mean, it's, where we're all growing and learning together. Like when you can say, me too, it's not just me that's struggling with this, but I can struggle with, there are a group of us who are going to do Vlogmas this year. And I was just like, look, I need a community. And people started raising their hands saying, why don't we just get together? We're going to do some co-working sessions, and then we're going to have 24 days of content. It's a new thing, but I know that doing it by myself is a mountain. Doing it in community means that someone's going to ask me about the thing. I love when you talk about this book not going to get written. When you were doing it on Stephanie Perry Media, this book is not going to get written if I don't get in community. Somebody's not asking me if I'm doing a thing. You said that's how your YouTube channel started. It was how people were asking you, what's going on with that Housesitter school? What's going on? And so I think the value of community is that, it can be short-lived for a small purpose. And then we're creating these other communities that are, we have folks that aren't planning to leave for another 2 or 3 years. People who are like, I just wanted to know some other people who were doing this, but I'm making the jump in a month. Mm-hmm. And then those of us who are like, I got to sort through this thing and that thing, and, parents and spouse. And I mean, we all have our challenges. We can be ready by recognizing where we are. Like, I feel the fear. And in this community, in the Exodus Summit community, in these accountability groups, we feel the fear and do it anyway. I think I saw Gallivanting Grandma state that's what. And I need to be in a community that encourages me forward. And I think some of us in the introverted, socially awkward community we can decide where we enter the wave, and we can exit the wave and still kind of find our own equilibrium there. So y'all know I will talk to Stephanie for 2 hours. I told her, I said, how much time we got? We got 50 minutes. We got 4. She was like, girl. So I'm going to share, because that is what we do. You can find the Exodus Summit Facebook community. It is for Black women. I learned to be okay, not just okay, to champion, because I know what it means to have a community that is for me. And that is a special protected place for me. The Exodus Summit event, so 2024 was the 5th year. It was my 4th year attending. I think Ulonda's attended all 5 years.
My first one was in 2022.
2022. Okay. So
quit that job 2 days later.
Okay. I'm telling you, if you want to, if you're open, like, this community is giving the gives, and you will find and hear inspiring stories. But Exodus Summit 2022 is available for replay. Check the description. But that is the learning experience. The encouragement that you all gave repeatedly throughout the summit is, now that you have this information, get in community, get connected, If you are a bopper and you want to move, get in community with people who know that and who are doing that, and that will progress, keep you accountable, keep someone asking about your thing.
Yes.
But I said I wanted to make sure that I got on because I have been blessed and blessed more abundantly because of the Get Found on YouTube.
Oh, thank you.
That, y'all, who wants to look at me? Like, who wants to look at me? And Stephanie was like, baby, you got a story. When she said people want to see a person on a journey. Can you come on, give us the Get Found on YouTube?
That's right. So I help people grow their YouTube channels because YouTube has done so much for me. This community, my community exists because YouTube was like, oh, I know some other people who are interested, right? I shared some stuff with Charmaine, and YouTube was like, oh, I know some people who might be into that. And so I help people grow their YouTube channel, have a YouTube challenge. So if you are a Black woman who wants to get in community with other Black women YouTubers and new YouTubers inside of, and learn from me on how to grow a channel, I have a YouTube challenge, and then I have a masterclass called Get Found on YouTube, which teaches the same information, but without the community piece. YouTube is, like I said, YouTube is a place where you can start talking your talk. And if you give YouTube the right data, next thing you know, YouTube will start bringing you people. YouTube will start bringing you people who are into it. YouTube is nosy. It's in our business. Just the other day, Jewel, my friend Jewel is here in the hotel, in the hotel too. And we were talking about something. And don't you know, I opened up YouTube and opened up my phone and there was a YouTube video about that thing. It's nosy. Okay?
Nosy.
Yes.
It's nosy. I don't know how legal all that stuff is. But right now, if you want to use that to your advantage, let's use that to your advantage. Since YouTube and Google know so much about us, YouTube can help you reach the people that you want to reach. And so I coach people on YouTube because it's been so good to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have to say, I feel nothing but gratitude. I see Dr. Kimani is here. She's seeded into my life. You have seeded into my life. Rashida has called my bluff all my life. Like when my husband says, you should get your coaching from do the get your next 3 clients challenge because these women know you and are going to tell you the truth. Like when you can have your circle of people say, these are your people, they trust, you can trust. Like I am forever grateful for what the community gives, and it is I feel like it's a part of my responsibility to give that back. Yeah, Kyoka is on here because she knows we're in the Vlogmas group.
Yes, I'm excited for that. I can't wait to spend even more time with y'all.
and Yolanda just did the Zaragoza. She did the Zaragoza tour because if you're trying to find a place in the world, a lot of times people are like, are there other Black people there? Or is there a community there? She is intentionally growing that community. And I was waiting for her to come back and say, girl, I'm not doing that no more. And she was like, I
called her because
she was like, we'll be here in the spring.
There was some challenges. Okay. My sister-in-law, they lost her luggage. She just got it back and she leaves tomorrow. She just got it back today. She just got her luggage. So there were some issues going on, but the experience, I met with about 4 or 5 Black women 6 Black women in Madrid. We hung out. We did some things. We did the Black History Tour in Madrid. It was amazing. I was talking to, it was like my 3rd time doing the Black History Tour with, I'm just going to drop his name, Kwame with Afro-Iberia Tours in Madrid. And he was like, you can just start giving the tour yourself now. Okay, she's like, because I always love discovering. And then after that, I had some women that came back, that met me in Zaragoza, and we had such a great time. It wasn't as many women because some of them had to change. Life happens. You know how that happens. But
Mhm.
the one-on-one experience that I had with them, there were some challenges, but it just kind of still like put it in there like, okay, so this is where you can need to improve. And so I said, I need to make sure that now going forward, I don't know, I will let you know. You get on my mailing list. I'm gonna put my mailing list out there. Because I feel like I need to do something that's all inclusive outside of the cost of your airfare, but something
Oh,
that's all inclusive next year. Because I feel like one, Zaragoza is people come to Madrid and Barcelona. Zaragoza is something that's so new and so wonderful that I feel like I want to make it as comfortable as possible and charge
mhm.
appropriately.
Yes.
But
Ease.
and charge
Ease is
appropriately.
what we learn in this community. Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm so excited. It was just the most enlightening, beautiful experience with, I've done several of these or several meetups in Texas, as you know,
Yeah.
but to have it done here in Spain in my new home country it was just absolutely beautiful. And I called a D just like, girl, let me tell you what happened. And then I was like, and I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it even better. So it
That's
was
wonderful.
inspiring.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad. I'm so glad. Yeah, look, it's so nice to see you have found a place that you love and that you want to recruit some people to. I'm so glad to see it.
100%. I thank everybody for showing up today. I'm celebrating the diversity of personalities and experiences that are within the Exodus Summit community. The link to the community, if you are a Black woman, this is a space for you. If you were looking for the We Out community, you have to join the Exodus Summit community. And I realize it's under the salons for 2024. Look for that post that Francis Hunt did. That and all of us that have accountability groups have put the information on how to join in that post. But you need to find the Exodus Summit 2024 salons post, and then there's the link to request to be a part of the We Out 2025 group. That's just there if you are considering moving abroad and want to be in community with other sisters that are going a variety of places, funding it in a variety of ways that have a variety of issues that they're trying to tie up here and embrace on their way out the door. That's what we do when we meet every month virtually. And then when Exodus Summit meetups are happening, we are finding each other and meeting in person. And so if you're looking for that kind of community, that kind of connection, there are multiple pathways for those of us who may have that internal struggle when meeting new people, but I promise you, the path to friendship pays well more than anything that you will think that you've put in. And that's how you know your tribe, is if you're getting probably more than what you're putting in, but that there's the expectation of that relationship of giving and receiving. So I'm thankful. Stephanie, thank you so much for spending time with us today, sharing your story, letting us what you say, y'all. I ain't never met nobody that says, yes, I take credit for that.
And I do. Okay. Yeah, thank you. So Danica, I think you have the record. I don't have any formal records, okay? But I think you hold the record for the most in-person meetups attended, right?
Mhm.
Because every time I open up the Facebook application, you are at somebody's get together. I think you hold the record. I really, really appreciate you being such a warm and wonderful member of the community. One of the Nashville meetup was one of the very first ones. I don't know if
Mhm.
you know that. I might have been the very first one that I went to, the first one that I
Wow.
went to, right? I
Yeah.
think so. And so I appreciate you. This is all, you know, fruit of you one day saying, "Oh, you're going to be around, not even in your state, right? But you're a client kind of close to my state. How can I host you, or how can I make sure that you have a wonderful time and, you know, enjoy this place?" So thank you very much for that, and then thank you both for creating and hosting the accountability group. Accountability groups mean Black women make progress, right? Accountability partners get you to the end, right? Get you to the finish line. And so thank you so much for that. It's one thing to come and learn how to do something. It's another thing to have a place to report back over and over again, and to say, here's what I'm struggling with. Anybody got any answer to this? And here's what I learned. Can I share this with y'all? So we really appreciate you for hosting that accountability group. I know it's big, right? If y'all want to break it up, y'all are in charge of that group. If it's too big and you want to break it up and have some people go somewhere else and do what you want, okay? As an introvert and an extrovert together, I think you can probably navigate it. But
Amen.
if there's a point where you're like, listen, that's too many people, don't feel obligated to continue to add in. It's okay to not do that. It's okay to say, y'all go form your own. It's okay. That's what I'm saying. I want you to know that. But I appreciate you having that place and that space so that Black women can make progress on their dreams. And I'm so glad that you got to meet some of the women yesterday, Danica.
Oh yes. Oh yes. When I met Dr. Angela when we were in Morocco, and both of us are now, she's got the Move to Mexico group. I mean, it's y'all, I'm telling you, get in Exodus Summit, just get in the group. That you can, all of these resources, all of these connections are available. Stephanie's platform is introducing, opening up new vocabulary for you. Me say ease, not when I'm supposed to put it on my back as the eldest daughter, when I'm supposed to put it on my back as, you know, as one of the first college graduates. I mean, that's what we're used to. And you say, girl, when you said not, who waits till 65 to retire? When people are asking, when you retire, what are you going to do? And you say, as little as y'all, if you want that kind of vocabulary regularly in your life, Stephanie Perry and Stephanie Perry Media are showing you what the live life is and the behind the scenes of what it takes to create a community like that, and the effort that we appreciate as your audience.
Thank you.
So I feel like I have loved you. I have affirmed you. I have, in person and virtually, documented. Yolanda.
I don't know if I'm having some connection issues or
Authentic.
We can hear you.
Thank you for accepting me, my authentic self, and partnering, and for us finding ways to learn together, to work together, to connect, and to dream together. I have never dreamed with another Black woman before you like this. And so I am grateful. And so I want to say that publicly so you can go back and watch it again. So if things kind of go sideways, you can say, look, you said you appreciated
I got proof.
in a public way. And so I want to take the opportunity to say that to you today as well.
Thank you. Thank you. This whole experience has just been oh Lord, you got me crying. Okay. This whole experience has just been a total game changer. And I'm just grateful. I'll just leave it at that. But thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I get to take credit for your friendship. Look at me.
Look at you. Okay.
All right. It's beautiful. One real
friend, is she taking credit? Okay.
One real friend will change your life. One friend, and that's all it takes. One friend will change your life, right? Put yourself in position to get that. It doesn't have to be running a group for 170 people. I appreciate y'all, right? But in some way, put yourself in the position to get one real friend. It will change your life. I know that. I know that. Right now, the introvert extrovert duo, that's a nice little icing on the cake, right? You guys get to be yin and yang to each other, icing
Yeah.
on the cake. But yeah, get yourself in position to get one friend. Let that change things for you. And if she's a Black woman, oh girl, it's about
We
to
are
be.
moving mountains. Yes, Black women are moving. If you don't want to get, you want to get out of your toxic job, we've got a person for that. If you are, if you want to learn how to swim, we got a person for that. If you want to, know more about co-living, because everyone should have a community to be in. We're doing that. Y'all, I'm just saying, these are the best years of your life, not the years behind you. These are the best years of your life. Don't take today for granted. Get out there. Thank you both. And I will say goodbye to our audience for now. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channels, all of our channels, and to intentionally engage in the community that you're in and reach forward. Bye for now, everyone.